Steven says, yes, that's why I stopped making my own cathode ray tubes.
Sorry, but just how gullible is Gary? Just how stupid is Gary? I mean, does he have a clue how complex cathode ray tubes are? And I'm just obviously joking when I say I used to make my own cathode ray tubes. Does Gary not realize how complicated cathode ray tubes would be to make yourself? That they have to be made in a special factory dedicated to the process, because it's like saying that's why I stopped making my own V8 engines. Nobody makes their own V8 engines, do they? Because they're complicated machines to make. I was joking, Gary. I was joking. What's wrong with you that you...
And here he's talking about making his own cathode ray tubes. I mean, I'm just pointing out that the X-rays you're going to get exposed to by making your own cathode ray tubes are going to do a lot more damage than 1,000 watts of microwaves.
This must mean that Gary genuinely thinks it's feasible that for an ordinary guy like me, an electrician, to make his own cathode ray tubes, which used to be in old-fashioned televisions. The great big bulky thing, very, very complex pieces of equipment, a very complex component. You cannot make it yourself. I suppose somebody could, I don't know. But you would have to be fucking mad. You would have to be off your fucking head. You'd have to be fucking, yeah, you'd have to be mad to make your own cathode ray tubes. You might as well. What would be the point? Why would you make your own cathode ray tubes when you could get one from General Electric, for 50 quid or something? Or get one out of an old telly. It just beggars belief. The only reason I used to make my own ribbon mics and carbon mics and moving coil mics, dynamic mics, capacitor mics, or tried to make these things when I was a kid, it was because I was poor. I was a kid. I was 11. I didn't get much pocket money. I got about 5 pence, 10 pence. We were poor, so I had to make things myself, thinking how can books out of the library were free. I could get 6 out a month, no problem, and I could read about how carbon mics work. So I think, well, there's a possibility I could make one of these myself, because I've looked in the shops and they cost £5, which was a lot of money then. This is like 1969 or something like that. So I thought, well, I'll have a go at making one. That's the kind of guy I am, But I never looked at cathode ray tube. Can't afford one. I'll make my own. Because that's an entirely different proposition, Gary. You fucking idiot. You fucking idiot. You fucking idiot. I can't believe that you seriously thought I was trying to make my own cathode ray tubes. I mean, I exaggerated the joke a step further just in case anybody didn't get it by saying that's why my landlord forced me to get rid of my glass blowing furnace in my living room. Who has a glass blowing furnace in their living room, Gary? Just think about what that entails. A glass blowing furnace.
When my landlord complained about me having a glass blowing furnace in my living room.
Can you picture me again? Yeah, I'm blowing a fucking cathode ray tube, which is a fucking big chunk of glass. Please, Gary, use your fucking common sense, man.
When my landlord complained about me having a glass blowing furnace in my living room.
Please, start thinking before you speak. Please, just start. Engage brain. Let it roll for a while. Let the oil circulate. Give it a while. And then say, well, is Steve serious? Or could Steve have been joking? It does help that I pointed out that I was joking.
Having a glass blowing furnace in my living room. Kidding, of course. I said, I don't know what that even means. Kidding, of course. Kidding, of course. I said, I don't know what that even means.
I said, I'm kidding. And you said, what does that mean? Is the phrase kidding meaning it's a joke? Is that not used in America? I don't know, because I'm not American. I'm English. So maybe it's not Gary's fault if he doesn't get what I'm saying when I'm saying kidding. Just kidding, of course. But you think by implication, you think by the context that it was being used in. A, I'm saying something ridiculous. B, I'm adding to the level of ridiculousness by saying that I had a glass furnace in my living room. It costs more money for that than the bloody cathode. You could buy a fucking 100 cathode ray tubes for the cost of having a glass furnace in your room. And C, I'm then admitting that I'm kidding. So then you think, well, I don't know what kidding means, but maybe he means he's joking. Oh, I wonder if he was just having a giggle. Now, you see, I think Gary knows. I think Gary knows perfectly well that was a joke. But it suits his purpose to string Alicia Shepherd along, or Mr. Keebler along. Any of these people who are gullible enough to think, oh, did Steve do that? People who don't have a clue what a fucking cathode ray tube is. It suited Gary's purpose to string them along, to pretend that Steve was just... Because it supported another stupid lie of Gary's, the accusation that I blamed him for me getting exposed to microwaves. No, I didn't get exposed to microwaves. They were so feeble and weak. It's of no consequence. They're milliwatts of microwaves. Gary knows darn well that what I actually was complaining about, that him, the giant, lanky, stupid moron, was suggesting that I stand in front of 1,000 watts of microwave energy. That's more than your domestic microwave oven, which is usually about the 700 or 800 watts region. He wanted me to stand in front of even more power than that. That'll turn your eyeballs to hard-boiled eggs, by the way. It would be dangerous. It would be stupid. Only an idiot would even take that risk. And that was his suggestion. And that was his suggestion. And that was his suggestion. He's saying that I didn't take note of his advice. What kind of idiot would take note of his advice? That would be like Gary advising Formula One car manufacturers. That would be like him advising them to put some oil on the wheels, smooth the wheels a little bit, make the wheels skid a little bit, or something stupid like that. That's how stupid his advice is for me to stand in front of 1,000 watts of microwave energy. I didn't do that because I'm not an idiot, unlike Gary. I'm not that fucking daft. Apart from anything else, it's quite difficult to generate 1,000 watts of microwave energy. Your microwave cooker's no fucking good for that purpose because it's pulsating. It goes. That's why it goes like because it's switching on and off with the frequency of your main supply. That's how it works. It's a very crude way of developing microwave energy. It's no fucking good for this experiment. Gary wouldn't know that because he's an arsehole. Look. In all seriousness, folks. I know a lot of you people out there probably think, oh, Gary's painted me as evil, Gary's painted me as a liar, Gary's painted me as stupid, a clown, all sorts of horrible, nasty things that are nothing to do with science anyway. So I kind of understand if you like Gary, and I did like him-ish for a while, and you always knew he was a bit fucking stupid, but I didn't realise how stupid until the longer you get to know somebody. It's like when you marry somebody, you don't realise their flaws until you have to sort of spend a lot of time with them, and eventually you start thinking, "My God, who the fuck is this?" So I've lost my thread. Sorry, folks. I'm only human. I'm not an expert video maker. I don't like making videos. I'm not very good at talking to people. As luck would have it, I'm just talking to a piece of plastic. This little camera thingy. I'm not really talking. It doesn't feel like I'm really talking to real people, but I am, aren't I? This isn't what I'm comfortable doing at all. But I'm only making the effort. I'm embarrassing myself a little bit, I suppose. I'm taking the risk because I think it's for the greater good. Because there's enough people out there who deserve to know better than what Gary is delivering them. He's pretending to be delivering you quality, nourishing food when in reality he's shitting on a sandwich and giving it you to eat. That is a metaphor for what he's doing with science, and it's a very good metaphor. Because in all seriousness, absolutely 100%, I swear on the lives of all the people I love. To me, I don't make those statements lightly. Even though I'm not religious, I still care about people. I swear on the lives of all the people I love that Gary really is deceiving you. He is deceiving you. He's lying to you. He doesn't care about lying to you so long as you keep As long as you support him and thumb him up, that's all he appears to be bothered about. He doesn't seem to be bothered about any of you people who. I know you think he loves you. You think he gives a shit about one or two things, but he doesn't. He only thinks about himself. Perhaps he can't help it. Perhaps it is a mental health condition. Perhaps it is a drug-induced problem. Perhaps it is some brain damage problem. I don't know about his life. I don't know what's gone on to bring him to this point in his life where he's willing to talk utter crap on a daily basis, on an annual basis. Just keep churning out crap. He's willing to do that. For what purpose, I don't know. Is it mental illness, or is it just him who's an evil, stupid, horrible, vile bastard? I'm inclined to think the latter, but I don't know. Anyway, I do urge anybody out there who is kind of on the fence a little bit, please try and think about the damage he's doing. If not to you, to other people who are more gullible than you, more naive than you, perhaps. People who might think, oh yeah, we do need to end lives of animals and people. And there are some nutcases out there who will take this kind of shit on board and act on the stupid things he says. And him and Amanda, they wipe their hands of that, saying it's not my fault if somebody goes out there, if some crazy person goes out there and does what he's recommended they do effectively. He didn't wipe his hands of it. It's not my fault if somebody goes out. I mean, people do this. It's happened locally. I don't want to mention it because it's a very upsetting case where somebody's child was killed. Somebody just random. I don't want to go into detail, but it's horrible. How do I know that that person who did that horrible, vile act ended somebody's life in front of the parents? Fucking wrecked their lives. How do I know that that person hadn't been influenced by Gary? I don't know, because Gary's supporters could be anywhere in the world. They could be next door to me. They could be, they could be 10 in this town for all I know. Although I doubt it. I'm not even sure there's 10 in the world, 10 real ones, because I'm damn certain that Gary is employing quite a lot of sock accounts to fake his thumbs up. But just think, even if it's a small chance in your estimation that anybody's going to take any notice of Gary's recommendations and go around killing people or animals or whatever, even if you think it's a very slim to none chance of it happening, it's not worth the risk, is it? Because just think of the damage that it causes when people do get led on by people like Gary. It makes me very sad. I'll shut up anyway, because I'm kind of waffling a little bit now. I wasn't really planning on making a video. I just wanted to add a little bit to this clip I've just stumbled on that I copied the other day from one of his videos. And it was just, every video there are about 10 or 20 sections in like this, which are just pure ridiculousness from Gary. And you could make a video about every single one, but I don't have time to make 20 videos a day to every stupid thing that the man says. And at the end of the day, all I want Gary to do is start acting reasonable, start acting responsibly. Try and, I don't mind him making up stupid claims, as long as he's honest about it and saying, well, I'm not sure, I've not tested this, maybe someone else can test this, I'm not willing to test it, but if you want to. If he was honest about it, that'd be alright. Well, okay, you've said something stupid, but you've put in a disclaimer saying, well, you've not tested it. But he doesn't do that. He lies to people like you. He lies. He just says barefaced, this is fact, this is truth. He abuses these words. He's always saying things, it's overtly this and overtly that, and he clearly does not know what overt means. He misuses the English language to such a degree, it's just quite disappointing and shocking. Anyway, thank you for your attention so far. I'm sorry for taking up your time. Thank you.